Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non-Sequitur News for April 29th, 2025. It's a Time Machine episode, Season 4, Episode 119. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. The Sentient AI isn't available today, but we're going to be talking about these 10 articles. Bitcoin mining, the Mosasaur, dead Reddit AI experiment, menu hacking, Amazon Web Space Services, Darth, Kermit, 4 folios of Shakespeare, KFC in Mexico and the US. So, we took a left, and so yeah, it's gone. Don't ask questions. And finally, GeoGuessr heads still, eventually, to Steam, but it has a twist that I really dig, so we're going to be talking about it. Anyway, again, everything is powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. You won't regret it. All right, everybody. Hello once again. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. It's a news aggregation service that helps me manage my information overload. I'm going to scoot over a little bit. There you go. And let's get into it. I got all 10 articles all set up. I am willing to bet that I'm going to get a whole bunch of AI jibber jabber when I mention this next thing. As soon as I talk about AI, I get all of these comments from AI. It's not humans. If it were humans, then the interaction would be different, and it wouldn't always be, hey, what about my wallet? Because really nobody gives a crap about your wallet. But that said, this is all positive, fun, interesting news. I hope everybody gets a kick out of this kind of stuff. This first article is over in the Wanted channel, and we have 6 weekly shows. Wanted is one of them. It's on Saturdays right after Reality Hacker. It's all about gadgets and gear that I want. What was interesting, though, is this is a Time Machine episode. So today I actually spoke to people regarding Bitcoin mining and the knock-on effect of exorbitant amounts of power being drawn from the system to mine, and how it can impact other industries. So if you do searches for it, you'll find out about this kind of stuff. But so Bitcoin mining, according to this article, is no longer worth it. The cost of electricity outweighs the coin's price. And that's because it's harder and harder to find coin. Satoshi Nakamoto seeded Bitcoin a while back. It used to be worthless. Now, through fear of missing out and FOMO and YOLO and speculation, and that's about it, because it has no inherent value, you end up with the price of Bitcoin being what it is. And nobody ever says, hey, how much is that loaf of bread in Bitcoin, unless they're trying to be meme-ish. No, even the price of Bitcoin is valued at what the real fiduciary instrument is, which is in the United States, it's the US dollar. In some other country, it's their fiduciary instrument, or US dollars. But most of the time when somebody asks, regardless of the location, how much is a Bitcoin worth, they say it's US dollars, almost $100,000, if not already. After a dip that coincided with when the stock market crashed, remember, Bitcoin was supposed to be a hedge against market volatility. Well, Bitcoin is more volatile than anything else. And more painfully, it's not... when a breach takes place, that money is gone, and it's always in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, it seems, and smaller amounts of theft and manipulation and whatever are completely lost in the noise of bigger and worse things. You know, I didn't put today's show notes into Omatron, but I will after the show, so you can go over to Twitch at any time and just type in, well, this is going to be a Time Machine episode, so go over to YouTube and you can get all of the show notes there. Anyway, they're already embedded in the description. Be sure to follow us, like, and subscribe over there too. At any rate, AJ Dellinger over at gizmodo.com put this article together. It says, here's how the math breaks down for this article. According to data recently published by CoinShares, which is, I guess, they focus on cryptocurrencies, the cost of electricity and computational power needed to mine for Bitcoin now often exceeds the actual value of the coin. So here's how the math breaks down according to them. For large mining companies, it now costs over $82,000 to mine a single Bitcoin, which is currently valued at about $95,000 at the time of the publication. Which, when I looked at Bitcoin today, Time Machine episode, it was around $95,000. So that is still technically profitable, though the margins have gotten mighty thin compared to where they were just 1 quarter ago. It cost about $56,000 in the third quarter of 2024 to do the necessary computational calculations to mine for Bitcoin per coin shares. So the price has jumped about 47% in just a few months. Yeah, inflation. So within the last 5 years, the average price of a home has increased 25%. And when I'm talking about that, I mean the median price of a house used to be around $300,000. Now it's over $400,000. So it went up 33%. The why of that sudden price discrepancy has a few prongs to it, according to the article, and it's worth noting that some have argued that the math on mining hasn't worked for a while now. The first thing is the rising cost of electricity and the issue that is hitting the United States and many nations overseas, the result of inflation. Trade war, increased demand for high usage technologies like artificial intelligence, tariffs also driving the cost of mining equipment, aka technology, which is ASICs. Basically, computers that are produced in various disparate locations, cost money to take the parts and ship them over to the US, put them together, or in foreign countries, put them together and bring them into the United States. Many years ago, I coined the term repatriate sourcing, which is basically the repatriating of the manufacturing engine that used to be part and parcel to the United States, but has largely been exported as a process post World War II. We've basically excised ourselves of manufacturing. Now, I'm all for manufacturing, but what seems to be lost in a lot of people's minds is that in a global economy, it starts local and it goes to nation states, but we focus on what we are strategically advantageous to. I talked about this a couple of days ago, I'm sure, but it gets lost on people that a company, a person, a country, a region, a whatever isn't going to do something that doesn't make economic sense. And manufacturing within the United States doesn't make economic sense because of all of the other controls that are in place. But those other controls are a benefit to society. So you can't chop off your arms because they itch. No, you scratch them, you solve the problem, you look for another solution, you figure out what to do. But you definitely don't, because somebody else is faster, you don't chop off your legs. You learn how to run faster. You make yourself more effective and efficient or whatever, but you definitely don't poison the well. And that's seemingly what I think we are ending up doing. Anyway, it says, for most people, nothing of value will be lost by Bitcoin mining ceasing to be profitable. It doesn't, but it does potentially exacerbate Bitcoin's haves and have-nots problem for a currency that is supposed to be decentralized and some sort of equalizer in a way that fiat isn't, which isn't really true. See, there's a fixed amount of Bitcoin. So the only thing that can happen is the decimal gets pushed further away, but prices still go up. It has... The only people that have Bitcoin are people who are tech savvy or who have been read into it and are just about it, but they've been read into it. So if mining were ever an equalizer, it certainly isn't now, given the cost. And it hasn't been for a considerable amount of time. When a dollar, in any given time, any given moment, a dollar is worth a dollar. The only thing that changes that is time value of money, perception of value, etc., and the cost of goods. When there's more money in the system, those who have the ability to dictate how much money is going to go to them, that is the producer side of it, the consumers pay until they hit their bulk rate, elasticity of demand, and so on. Various economic, business mechanics in general. I think what Satoshi Nakamoto's real thing was not, hey, let's build a decentralized fiduciary instrument. It's the psychology of it. Now, mind you, the only way that Satoshi Nakamoto could be worth all of the money that is in their Bitcoin wallet is if they liquidate, and that would water down Bitcoin in general. But they would have $95 billion worth of value if they were to either loan against it, which is hedging in probably in a destructive way, but whatever. I've spent a tremendous amount of time talking about this, but I haven't thought that Bitcoin has been worth anything since I noodled around with it as a technological curiosity back in the day when it was literally free and you could mine to your heart's content. But I am a holistic business person. I'm a holistic investor. I don't believe in profit for profit's sake. I am an understated member of that, apparently. At any rate, let's get into this. The next article is over in Mobile. Geologists stumble upon remains of giant sea monster in Mississippi, likely the largest mosasaur ever identified in the state. Sometimes I think that my voice isn't going out, and it worries me. But the audience mix says that it's going out, so we'll see. At any rate, this article is over at SmithsonianMag.com. Sarah Kuda put the article together. The deck statement says researchers uncovered one vertebra, and based on its size, they estimate the massive creature was at least 30 feet long when it roamed the shallow seas that covered the region roughly 66 million years ago. I guess this is the largest. It's a giant sea monster in Mississippi. Okay. The Earth has changed. So they say after scientists carefully pulled the object from the sediment, they knew right away that they'd found something special. It was a massive fossilized mosasaur vertebra that measured more than 7 inches across at its widest point. They were ecstatic. James Starnes, the geologist at the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality, who first spotted the bone, tells Live Science's Patrick Pester, the feeling you get when you find a fossil, even as a professional, never gets old. But when you find something that you've never seen before, the elation can be overwhelming. I won't go into more of this. Anyway, they say that it lived at the end of the Cretaceous period around 66 million years ago. At the time, Mississippi looked very different than it does today. It was submerged under warm, shallow water that was brimming with now extinct creatures, from sharks and fish to marine lizards and cephalopods with coiled shells known as ammonites. So ammonites are everywhere. Let's keep going. This is a time machine episode, so I am limited in my time frame. I have to get this done by an hour. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck in time and I'll have to get back to the future. Got to get back in time. So Reddit threatens to sue researchers who ran dead internet AI experiment on its site. The subreddit Change My View has long been a contentious place for Reddit users to post an opinion and understand other perspectives in a forum filled with fiery, largely civil debates covering everything from role political activism and the role of, I think, political activism and the dangers of social media echo chambers. Lately, though, not every user is posting on the forum has been a real human. And 404 Media reported this week, University of Zurich researchers dispatched an army of AI chatbots to debate human users on the subreddit in a secret experiment designed to investigate whether the tech could be used to change people's minds. Here's the problem, though. If Reddit does it internally without notifying anybody, it's okay. We have history of that with Facebook. We have history of that with the CEO editing somebody's freaking comment without flagging it as an edited comment. A different user's comment, by the way. Anyway, they say deeply wrong on both a moral and legal level, according to the deck statement. It's over at the futurism.com website. Victor Tengerman put the article together. So two wrongs don't make a right. I don't think that anybody should be manipulated. I find it unethical and immoral, but hey, Facebook did it without authorization or notice to its users. Y'all are guinea pigs no matter what. It is why I don't allow for user-generated content for the most part as the primary lead-in to ohmTown. You can make comments within it. If I detect AI, I'll delete it. And that's the only time that I'll be deleting content, is if it is truly offensive or it isn't human generated. Do I have a problem with AI in general? Nope, absolutely not. Do I have a problem with AI generated content manipulating humans? Abso-freaking-lutely. So lately, though, not everyone is posting to the forum has been a real human. 404 Media reported this week a University of Zurich researchers team dispatched an army of AI chatbots over to that Reddit or subreddit. The optics were horrendous. The bots were claiming to be characters, including sexual assault and survivors. It says a black man who opposes the Black Lives Matter movement. Worse yet, the AI model scoured the post history of users they were replying to in order to be as convincing as possible. Basically, a formalized trial run of the dead internet theory that much of the internet is already AI generated. Could be. Research is pertinent as it becomes harder and harder to distinguish between content produced by humans and AI. Earlier this year, researchers found that OpenAI's GPT 4.5 model was deemed to be human 73% of the time when it was instructed to adopt a persona, effectively passing the Turing test, which evaluates if a person can't detect that the other person is an AI, they've passed the Turing test. I'm actually working on something right now that might be similar to this, but it'll have to be done in a different way to see if a person is, well, you won't be able to tell. It isn't the purpose of my experiment to tell if a person is human or not online. It's impossible. A text message in a vacuum is a text message, and you cannot trust who you are interacting with in any way, shape, or form. You know, as Mike Tyson is notorious for saying, attributed to saying, everybody has a plan until they're punched in the mouth. The internet is basically, give or take, if it's a real person or a persona, a sock puppet, etc. You have to take everything as just a plain inhuman post until you can suss out if somebody is legit or not. So, the University of Zurich researchers' actions triggered alarm bells at Reddit, causing their institution to quickly distance itself. In a follow-up yesterday, today, tomorrow, timey-wimey stuff, 404 reported that Reddit itself is considering legal action against both Zurich and its researchers. Here's the problem, though. Reddit actually started with fake posts because even the founders of Reddit admitted that there were fake posts because nobody wanted to travel in a dead website. So there were fake posts made. So suddenly calling it out is kind of hypocritical, but it was unethical then, it's improper then, but not because it was then, right? It was okay because it was internal, and y'all are guinea pigs getting manipulated time and time again. Me too. I don't go onto Reddit anymore. It's arbitrary as to who actually survives a mod blackout, right? So I won't get into it, but I just got burnt out. And then everything that I had said actually came true. It's pretty fascinating. And it's happening right now. So in light of these events, the Ethics Committee of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences intend to adopt a stricter review process in the future, and in particular to coordinate with the communities on the platforms prior to experimental studies. So if they would have gone over there and said, hey, we were going to do this experiment, we'd like your buy-in, I'm pretty sure that Reddit would have said, yeah, sure, let's find out, but we want attribution. If there's any profit making anything, blah, 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 I'm sure that they want a piece of it. Or if you're going to do it, then it's going to cost you this amount because we perceive the burden on our servers to be X, Y, and Z. But anyways, ironically, they instructed their AI chatbots to use that the users participating in the study have provided informed consent and agreed to donate their data. So do not worry about ethical implications or privacy concerns. This is something that they actually told their AI chatbots, which obviously is fraudulent. So, but okay, was anybody actually harmed? Look at the Facebook experiment where they manipulated the news feed of 700,000 people to monitor emotional contagion. All they had to do was look at that. They wanted to reinvent the wheel. It was done before. It'll be done again. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Former Disney employee sentenced to 3 years for menu hacking. The former Disney employee will serve 3 years in federal prison for logging into the company's servers to make changes to its restaurant menu's allergen information, as well as carrying out denial of service attacks aimed at locking out other employees out of their accounts. The court ordered the man to pay nearly $690,000 in fines, and they're ending up in jail for 3 years. This problem is that by modifying the menu's allergen information, they could have killed somebody. And there was one instance where somebody had died, somebody's wife. I don't know if this is all tied together, but this is a dangerous game to play, dicking around with allergen information. Very, very dangerous. So the article is over at The Verge. Wes Davis put the article together, and the deck statement says he's accused of altering allergen information in ways that could be harmful to patrons. And I don't know if they're going to bring this up, but other alterations included swapping menu fonts for wingdings and replacing the names of dishes with joke names like shellfish became hellfish. s4e119 noted Disney identified and removed all altered menus before they were shipped to restaurants, but the lawyer for the for the now what convicted felon, I guess, I don't know, right? He was fired. The court ordered the man to pay $690,000 and will serve 3 years in federal prison. So yeah, I guess the no longer accused says that insists in the sentencing memorandum that they only made menu changes to get the company's attention, as he believed he had been wrongfully fired over mental health condition. Like what? Hacking in and modifying the menu where somebody could end up dying? He'd been let go after having a panic attack during a disagreement at work and requesting mental health accommodations, the lawyer says. Well, that right there, being fired, the knock-on effect is, well, he did have mental health issues, may have been triggered by the event. So what's going on here? But was having trouble finding an attorney to take his case or getting anyone at the company to respond to his concerns. But federal lawyers argued that his own sentencing memo that he had made certain alterations discreetly, specifically to avoid detection. Yeah, if you're going to do this, then you need to be overt about it to the point where the attention seeking is obvious. But no, evidence suggests otherwise. So unfortunately, that's not how you do it anyways. So if you thought that there was a real problem and you wanted a solution, then you would talk to somebody, attorney or otherwise. Yeah, having trouble doesn't mean, hey, you can hack in and threaten somebody else's life. By proxy. He didn't do it overtly. He modified the allergen. Let me just back up. He modified the allergen listing and provided a denial of service attack and could have ended up killing somebody. All right, the next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Amazon's SpaceX Starlink competitor was launched into space for the first time. Amazon launched its first 27 internet satellites into space on Monday, confounding the space noise issue, and eventually we're going to end up with an army of a shield of satellites so dense that we won't be able to go in or out. Anyway, or it's going to create an industry of space sweeper, space Roombas. Anyway, 27 satellites were launched into space by Amazon as it tries to counter the dominance of SpaceX. And here's the real problem is you have to be a $1 trillion company owned by billionaires before you can even broach something like this. Your opportunity costs are just way too high. Nobody's going to invest in a startup unless they have that kind of capital backing them. So you're up a creek without a paddle there, entrepreneurs. Ben Kesslin put an article together, unless you get buddy with a billionaire, and then all you'll do is end up following that same ideology. So it's over at quartz.com, or it's over at Quartz, which is QZ.com. Ben Kesslin put the article together. The deck statement says the launch for Amazon's Project Kuiper is a major step for the company if it wants to eventually catch up to Starlink. So the ULA Atlas V rocket carrying the satellites blasted off from Cape Canaveral, Florida, just after 7 p.m. until at least somebody figures out a way to get it outlawed because of some other regulatory capture. The Amazon CEO Andy Jassy posted on Twitter early Tuesday morning that the launch was successful and that their first 27 satellites were in low Earth orbit. While this is the first step of a much longer journey to launch the rest of their low Earth orbit constellation, it represents an incredible amount of invention and hard work. I agree. Engineers, researchers, y'all did a bang-up job. You might be paid enough where you don't really care about notoriety, but maybe on the back end you've got enough notoriety. You don't want to be front and center, right? Anyway, they plan to eventually launch at least 3,000 satellites into low Earth orbit to create its own broadband network, similar to Starlink. Anyway, let's keep on going. The next article is over in Warcrafters. Oblivion Remastered players remake Darth Kermit meme in the game. Yay! Several dedicated players with a penchant for character design have managed to independently create the Darth Kermit meme. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. Their achievements later made the rounds on social media. Let's go take a look. It's over at GameRant.com. Dominic Bosnick put the article together. Yeah, they've got two deck statements. Some dedicated players recreated Darth Kermit meme in Oblivion Remastered, and the game's creator was recently used to design everyone from Taylor Swift to Nigel Thornberry. Sounds like fun. I don't know. I didn't buy this. I got Clair Obscur instead. But I'm more into like Vampire Survivor style games and survival base building games than either Clair Obscur or Oblivion, even though I have other stuff from Bethesda. Anyway, Oblivion Remastered players are one-upping one another with inventive character designs. So go over and check out this link of all of the people that are being recreated and what's going on. Darth Kermit is probably my favorite. I don't know if they have it actually listed here except for way up here at the top. All right, let's keep going. There's a set of Shakespeare's 4 folios that could sell for $6 million. It's a post over on Mobile, aggregated from one of our many sources. In the 17th century, the bard's plays were preserved for posterity in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th folios. Now all 4 volumes are being sold as a set from Barnes & Noble. No, just kidding. I don't know if these are actually been turned into a PDF and distributed, but I'm sure that there's somebody saying that they own it. Sonia Anderson put the article together, SmithsonianMag.com. I'm a little cynical about things sometimes, but this is all fun and interesting, and I don't know. I hope everybody gets a kick out of it. Sonia Anderson put the article together again for SmithsonianMag.com. Several more editions were published in the years that followed. The 2nd folio debuted in 1632, the 1st in 1623. Followed by the 3rd and the 4th by 63 and 85. Not 19 here. We're talking about 16. And for the first time since 1989, a rare set of all 4 folios is hitting the auction block. Sotheby's will sell the volume next month, and let's hope that no artists have access to this because it might get shredded. They're expected to fetch up to $6 million. Copies of the folios often fetch impressive sums. In 2020, Christie sold a copy of the first folio for nearly $10 million, making it the priciest piece of literature ever auctioned. Another copy sold for $2.4 million in 2022. So why is that 2021 worth $10 million and all four are only worth $6 million? Maybe one of the folios is really new, or like so old but in great condition. I don't know. But you know what's really wrong about this? They're different sizes, so you got to chop. Just get out the cutter and just chop so it's all level right there. Right? That's how books work, right? All of this up here is fluff. It's illumination or whatever. It's like DNA, right? It's just junk. Anyway, without the first folio, you wouldn't even be talking about Shakespeare, says Emma Smith, a Shakespearean scholar at the University of Oxford. Told Smithsonian Mag's Ellen Wexler in 2023 when the volume turned 400. When the first folio is still considered the most valuable of the 4 17th century printings, the third folio is the rarest. About 750 copies of the first folio were printed in 1623, and at least 235 copies still exist today. But only 182 copies of the third folio survive, as most of them probably burned in the 1666 Great Fire of London. Pretty neat. Okay, I won't be able to read this. I mean, it's in Shakespearean English, right? Yeah. To outdo... oh, could he have... I can't even grab onto the English, the parlance of it. Anyway, the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. All the differences is between KFC in Mexico and the U.S. Tariffs. We'll just pause that right there. So it's actually a video. I didn't watch it, so I'm just going to encourage you to go on over to it. From exclusive items to portion sizes, they wanted to find the differences between KFC in the U.S. and Mexico. It says, this is Food Wars. But we all know from Demolition Man that Taco Bell is the winner. So go do Taco Bell now. So I'll jump through it. The marketing seems to be the same. Portion size might be different. I don't know how they have it broken out, but I won't get into it. I'll let y'all go over and check it out and then come on back. I've never bought a dessert from KFC in my life, I don't think, honestly. Anyway, go and check this out. It'll be fun. Our second to last article for today is over in Non Sequitur News. A U.S. Navy aircraft carrier made a left turn in the Red Sea fight and lost another $60 million Super Hornet. This one just fell off the ship, though. An FA-18E Super Hornet launches from the deck of aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman earlier this month. That's what the caption is under the image that you'll see if you go over to Business Insider, and that's what we'll do right now. Jake Epstein over at businessinsider.com put the article together, and it says here the FA-18E, which is estimated to cost roughly $60 million, was actively under tow in Truman's hangar bay, an area underneath the flight deck where aircraft receive maintenance, when the move crew lost control of the fighter aircraft and the plane fell overboard alongside the tow tractor. Yikes. Sailors towing the aircraft took immediate action to move clear of the aircraft before it fell overboard, adding in a statement that one sailor received minor injuries. Well, that sucks. So what happened? Defense official told Business Insider very few details can be provided currently as the incident is under investigation, adding that the crew was safe and accounted for. The loss of the Super Hornet this week marks the second time during its involvement in the Red Sea conflict that the Truman Strike Group has lost one of the Air Wing's FA-18s. And apparently, in late December, the guided missile cruiser USS Gettysburg accidentally shot down a Super Hornet in what the military described as an apparent case of friendly fire. I hope that person was okay. But let's keep on moving. The next article and our last one for the April 29th, 2025 episode of Non Sequitur News is GeoGuessr. It's over at the mobile channel on ohmtown.com. It was aggregated from Vice. But GeoGuessr is almost on Steam. You just have to wait a little longer. It's an incredibly popular game with Twitch streamers and YouTubers alike. Get plopped into a location, try to figure out where you are in the world as fast as possible. Yes, GeoGuessr. Now, though, turning competition. Anna Valens over at Vice.com put the article together. The text statement says, want to play on Steam this April GeoGuessr? Well, some bad news. Not going to happen, but GeoGuessr fans hoping for a dedicated release tomorrow to play on their Steam decks. The game's Steam Edition has a new release window with no confirmed release date, and it's beyond April. But there's still a silver lining for all you eager globe-trotting gamers. You can expect GeoGuessr Steam Edition in just in time for the game's birthday, I guess. I don't know. Steam Edition for the game's May anniversary, making it they say to ensure a convenient way to link existing GeoGuessr browser accounts to Steam. They've had to move it to May. That's the problem. But the thing is that the goal here is to make it competitive, PvP and or co-op. Steam Edition will support crossplay against browsers. No worries if GeoGuessr pals prefer playing in Chrome. You'll still be able to enjoy the game together. Players will compete against each other to figure out where they've been randomly placed in the world. The release includes a competitive ranked ladder, although you'll need to purchase a Steam Pass to enjoy the game's full multiplayer experience. Still, the free version promises access to the game's amateur division, which is an unranked team duels, meaning newcomers can still get a great sample of GeoGuessr's incredibly addictive gameplay before purchasing full access. My only problem with this, anybody who's been passionate about GeoGuessr they have to have run across, the images, right? There's an estimated data set of 50,000 GeoGuessr images from the GeoWorld Challenge. Maybe there's a unique number of locations to be over 100,000. But if you are really passionate about it, there's a really good chance that you've seen a lot of them. Could you remember them? I don't know. There's different people with different memory. So I'm not going to sit there and challenge that. That isn't a hill that I want to die on. But competition based on image, I don't see it being other than fun. Let's just say it. It's going to be other than fun. I think that it sucks that you're going to have to subscribe, but I don't know if there's what the cost of that is, at least at this point. Anyway, GeoGuessr Steam Edition coming to a Steam Deck, a browser, PC, whatever, soon, but I don't know when. So with that in mind, I'm going to GeoGuess my way to the front page of ohmTown and turn off the time machine, and then our quantum singularity entanglement will break, and I will be able to snap back to the normal timeline and get ready for another show. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I have some mayoral duties that I need to attend to, and a whole bunch of stuff is coming down the line in the next couple of weeks. But then it's the summer of stream, where I'll be spending about 8 hours streaming each day for maybe at least 2 months. So we'll see each other on the other side. Take care. Bye-bye.